Good morning and welcome to your Daily Game Face. I am Dr. Kim Lannon. I'm coming to you a little late today, but that's okay because if you're watching it or listening to it at a different time, you won't know.
That's right.
Um,
Everyone's late this week.
we got some snow. We have 22 inches of snow. I am currently in my office, as you can see today. Lou, look at that.
I know.
I'm in my office because I had to get to my office because the week is all messed up because of the snow, and I have another cold.
I'm trying to see who the baseball player is. I'm trying to figure out by his swing.
Oh, behind me?
Yeah, I can't see.
Oh, do you want to? Are you going to guess?
Trevor Story?
Nope.
No.
Do you want me to tell you? Will Middlebrooks.
Oh, Will Middlebrooks. Okay, cool.
And you can't see above. Oh yeah, because you haven't seen. Oh
No, I
yeah,
haven't seen.
I have all my game face sport people are like behind me and up.
Nice.
So Dwight Evans is above me.
Dwight. Yeah.
No, right? Nate Solder, but that's not baseball, but he's
Yeah.
behind me. I got Bruins in front of me. So yeah, people aren't used to seeing my office. I got my big cats behind me.
Oh yeah. Yep. See that? Yep.
Yes, that's Manny. Manny,
Man, he's beautiful.
he is. He passed away, but he was beautiful.
He was
Mhm.
beautiful.
He was a beautiful, beautiful leopard. Hmm. So anyway, welcome to the show. Hi, Lou.
How we doing?
I'm one older than I was yesterday. It was
Yeah.
my birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday. I wish you a
Yeah,
happy
I
birthday.
know you did. Thank you. Did you? You did late in the day.
Well, I was busy.
You were busy. Lou lost water.
I lost water.
We had a very big blizzard.
Yep.
And we're gonna get another one this weekend. Well, you're gonna get another one because I'm not gonna be.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about that right
That's okay because the place I'm going to, apparently the high is going to be 50 and the low is
now. Oh,
going to be 20. So it's not going to be much greater.
at least it's above zero.
But I'm just, well, this is true, but it won't have snow. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
But I just won't be around for the big one on Saturday, Sunday. Thank God.
No, that's going to be a miss. We need a miss.
Okay. I don't think so, but I would like for it to be a miss. But anyway, so I'm here to say thank you to everybody for all. I did get tons of birthday wishes yesterday from my online crew here at my Daily Game Face
I'll bet.
or your Daily Game Face. So I did get a lot, and then on my regular social media feed. So I appreciate all the birthday wishes from everyone. I have you'll have to pardon me because I have another cold.
Mhm.
And so I'm coughing and I have a throat of glass. It's
Ah.
lovely. It's just lovely. But in the year of you and the rise year, we just carry on.
That's right.
I did get a couple of nice compliments yesterday that I thought I'd pass along to you, Lou,
Okay.
of people that are following that I haven't heard from in a long time,
Nice.
that are following along because I obviously don't see everybody. I do watch the metrics here and watch where people are watching and listening from, but people were chiming in to wish me a happy birthday and saying that they actually catch the show and that they love the naturalness between us and the banter and the fun that we have.
Well, you got to have fun, right?
I know, right? And people have also commented on actually seeing you and that they like seeing you, and I said yes. So they like to put the face with the name and the voice.
I find that hard to believe, but still, it's another story. But by the way, and I want to say this again: if you missed last week's episode, go watch last week's episode.
Oh,
An
thank you.
essential episode.
Thank you. And why do you
And
think
if
it's
you have
essential?
seen it, go watch it again.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Why do you think it's essential? Thank you for the plug. What are you saying?
Because it's about sitting at the wheel of the car. It's about understanding you have control over your outcomes. It's about understanding that your mindset, your decisions, and the way you approach life has a large say in what happens to you. Right?
Mhm.
That's a lesson that isn't learned. Everybody's in a victim mentality. Everything is happening to them. They have no control over it. You have
Right.
more control than you think. Take control.
Right.
Grab
Well,
the wheel.
exactly. Grab the wheel. So as a review, so before I start, I have to just also say, but thank you. Yes, please go back and watch that because I'm going to add on to the second part of it this week. But please go back and watch that. But and people did comment on how much they loved that last week, and that they're integrating it and they're doing the work on it. So keep going, everybody, because coming out of the year of you, make it the year of you with rising to the occasion, right?
Yep.
And speaking of rising, I'm a short $900 away from 10,000 on my
Wow.
fundraising. So in the link on your screen, or anywhere you want to go find me out in the world, or you can Venmo Kim-Lannon. You can Venmo me anything that goes towards the New England Patriots Foundation. We had our lovely team dinner last week before the playoff game. It was fabulous. And off of that, I raised a little bit more money, but I'm 9 squares away essentially from the Super Bowl squares being complete.
Oh,
And
so
then,
you have squares for the Super Bowl.
yes, I
Have
have
some
9.
left. Excellent.
Yes. So the $100, if you do $100 or more, each $100 goes towards a square. You're also entered into all the giveaways that I've been giving away. And then you also will get entered into the New England Patriots giveaways as well. If you give $100 or more, you get entered into certain ones that they give away. And then 250 or more, they're even bigger prizes that they give away at the end of our marathon season. So anybody that gives to me gets entered into all of it. So everybody's getting extras. So you're giving and getting. And over the weekend, I don't know if you saw, so I'm going to give my plug here. I'm giving away, for people that donate to me, $100 or more, an Alex and Ani bracelet. That's a New England Patriots one that's rare that you can't get. They don't
Oh,
they don't make them anymore. And I have 35 of them.
nice.
So I am giving them away to people who give to me. And I have essentially, I still have to get to, I have $3,500 left to raise to get to my minimum. So I have 900 to hit the squares, and then I have another 2,500 to go. So I have exactly 35 bracelets to make that happen. So if anybody would like to help me out, I would be happy to, give you a lovely bracelet from the New England Patriots that is Alex and Ani. It's very nice.
I don't know if you saw on the Gamecast Sunday, but the shout out to the Kraft Foundation and the Patriots Foundation. They did a nice thing. They had the baby shower for the military moms. I think
Yes.
there were 30 of them or so.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's nice.
The Kraft Foundation does a ton of stuff, along with like the New England Patriots Foundation is they're not the same, but they're all the same, right? So but the money that I raise for running the marathon, for the Boston Marathon, that all goes directly. I mean, all of it goes directly to 25 New England charities that get picked every year. That range from people working with youth and team sports, people who have homelessness, people who have housing issues, with food issues, people who need to have vocational support. Like it depends on who applies, but it goes to amazing things. Veterans, suicide prevention. I mean, it's just over the years that I've been doing this, the groups that have come in and helped people out. There's a group in Brockton that won a couple years ago that won the $25,000. That's the grand prize of the 25.
Mhm.
And they go out, and even in the snowstorms, they make sure that they give out full meals every single day, no matter what. They don't just do it like once a week. Every
Nice.
single day, they try to go out and make sure like the 100 and something people in Brockton, Massachusetts get fed hot meals. They also, the New England Patriots Foundation donated to their foundation through our running efforts these really cool zipper jackets that unzip and turn into sleeping bags for homeless people
Oh, wow.
that are down, and they work beautiful in sub-zero weather. So that's just one foundation that this money goes to. So it's amazing.
Nice.
So yes, exactly. So anyway, so back on track to our rise. So remember that we're resetting our mindset, and we're integrating, and we are making sure that we are integrating, because if you don't integrate, we can't get to the standing out and standing up. And then we evolve, or we escalate into our next, section of being amazing and more amazing than we already are. Right?
Yep. Start stacking some wins, right?
Stacking the wins. Yes. People love the stack of the wins, right? And really seeing that stacking it doesn't have to be these big monstrous things. It can be
Nope.
just little things, and giving yourself credit for that. So that's important.
Just get your water running again. Stack that win.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, really.
Congratulations for unfreezing your pipes. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, we actually had a heating issue that I won't go into this weekend as well, but it wasn't because of the pipes. But
But
it
that's
was sad.
a major example, but there are daily examples every day of things you can do. Get something done. Have an intention
Exactly.
and get it done. Yeah.
Exactly. So as a refresher to last week when I was giving everyone the start of the plan. So the first, I'm not going to go through all the examples that I gave for everything, but I'm going to give you the first thing. So remember, establish that your mental health has an infrastructure, and I call it that specifically, and it's not a reaction, right? So you're treating your mental health as a foundational system to be proactive and not something that you're just doing in an acute crisis. That's the first thing.
Yep.
Then second thing was replace your outcome obsession with process mastery. So don't worry about the outcome as much as you do the process. Your process will get you there. So if you do like what I've done over the years and talked about on the show is capture something in the moment that's not working for you, or capture a negative thought or whatever that is, challenge it, and it will change. So what you're doing is you're replacing that, you're not being on the 10th step while standing on the first, right? You're trying to go through the process and allowing yourself to really, and there's where the stack of the wins come from, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
stacking a stair, every stair counts. And that's what frustrates people, is that they feel like they get stuck because they want to be on the 10th top stair, but
Right.
that's the outcome. We have to do the process. So you have to master the process to get there, right?
Yep.
Um, as you're doing it, the next part is strengthening your emotional regulation skills. And I talked about how, you improve your emotions um, when you manage them skillfully. So if you're able to regulate yourself, through breathing, and people kind of poo-poo breathing. We talked about that. I had a couple clients that listened last week, and we're talking about breathing and how important box breathing and rhythmic kind of slowing yourself down breathing is. But people kind of laugh at it, like, well, I'm breathing. No, actually, if you take a breath and you do a long slow breath a couple of times, it changes your whole dynamic of your body, because what it does is it oxygenates the neurotransmitters in your brain that slow your body and brain down
Yep.
for you to not be emotionally dysregulated. So that's why it's important to do that. And people kind of do that whole, the eye roll, because it's like, oh, we got to breathe. Well, it's actually kind of important, especially if you're not breathing correctly, which a lot of adults don't breathe correctly. They breathe through their nose, and I mean, through their mouth. And there are techniques through the mouth and out through the nose, but they also do that and stop at the chest, which leads to hyperventilation. And when you do that, your body goes into dysregulation, because you can't get enough breath into your whole body and into your whole system of the circulation, and then that changes how things go. So breathing is really important.
It's all about getting you into the moment, isn't it? Instead of
Yes,
worrying about outcomes down the road or catastrophizing, just getting you in the moment and dealing with what's in front of you.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So and that will
Or
help.
as the athletes are saying now, it's the big phrase with athletes. I'm sure you heard it: "Be where your feet are." Right.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's just being in the moment, right? And then the next one I did was I said curate your inputs ruthlessly,
Yeah.
right? So curate, right? So create. So create your inputs. Make sure that your vibe of your tribe is who you want around you, what you want around you. Your environment is what you want around you. Make sure that your mindset is shaped by what you're consuming. um, that's people, places, things, media, social media, television. um, your environment is something that you can create, and if you are sitting in an environment that you've created that is not healthy, and you're not doing anything about it, then
Yep.
then you're not doing a ruthless job of making sure you're curating that environment for your mental health to rise correctly. Um, you know, that doesn't mean you have to eliminate and cut out people. It means you have to make sure that you reduce exposure to certain types of people or their behaviors. People asked me last week after the show, well, what if I live with people that, well, yeah, obviously, if you live with people that aren't the best for you, then you have to reduce the exposure to them in any way that you can that fits still being able to live with them, short of, if you have to divorce someone, or short of like kicking someone out, like a kid who lives with you too
Yeah.
long, or, those kinds of things. Um, so your mindset shift has to be that I protect my attention because it's because it shapes my identity. So I have to pay attention to what's going on around me and who's around me so that my identity doesn't get soul sucked.
Oftentimes, I think it's about acceptance and letting it go. I mean, when they talk about meditation, and most people get the mistake that you're supposed to clear your mind, and that doesn't work. That's not what you're
Right.
trying to do. But
Right.
just kind of looking at your thoughts as a river and just letting things float past. That's
Exactly.
kind of scrolling in social media too, because it doesn't mean you have to avoid sources. It
Right.
just means that scroll. Don't
Right.
don't get into it. Don't get upset by it. Don't rail about it. Just okay, and just
Exactly.
accept it and scroll.
Exactly. And snooze. I say scroll or snooze
Yeah.
because if you
News
don't
is a
like
good thing, yeah.
snoozing things for 30 days
Yep,
or unfollowing some things are good things.
yep,
You can always refollow or you can always unsnooze.
yep,
Um, but there's nothing wrong with snoozing. It's if it's out of your sight line, you don't think about it.
right.
Okay. Okay. So now the next one. So now we're getting ready to add on. So we have to build identity based habits. Right.
Hmm,
So that means that we're looking to sustain our rise over time. Right. So we want to keep rising. We want to keep that flow going. So sustainable growth will occur when habits align with who we believe we are. Right. So I would say to myself that I act in alignment with who I am becoming, even when it's not necessarily right there in that moment. I align with who I am becoming, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not something I know, even if it's something out of my comfort zone.
hmm,
I'm going to align and act in the alignment with who I'm becoming. So, for instance, I made a reference to one of my clients last week. I know that listens, probably listening to this as we speak, that when like they've lost weight, right? So when you lose weight, you dress for the weight you've lost because of who you're becoming, not for who you were. So you dress for that because you want to be in that moment of who you are, not who you were. And a lot of people, especially with weight loss, will hang on to those old old clothes or
yeah.
old things and sometimes it'd be like, well, I don't want to spend another $50 on a jacket or pants but if it's four sizes too big for you or three sizes too big for you, it's important to move that along to be really fitting who you are becoming because you want your identity to be an identity based habit. So you want it to make sure that you're feeling comfortable with the uncomfortability of like, okay, I'm moving into this. And people have, I've had friends, I'm going to go with the weight loss thing because right now, but I have friends that have lost weight over the past couple of years. And often one of my girlfriends, I would say, like, you got to dress for the part now. And she would say, like, I don't feel it. I don't see myself that way. And so she
Yeah.
would keep wearing the big clothes. And I would like, every time I'd go over, I'd like take a piece of her clothes away. I'm like, no, you don't need that anymore. And she's like, no. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't need that anymore. Yeah.
Oh, it's a safety net for going back too in weight loss
Well, yeah,
situations.
right. Well, and that's the thing is people are like, I'm just going to put it in a box in case. I'm like, you can't, that's not building an identity based habit because if you have that in your head, your train track or your neural pathway that you're building or you're holding on to is going to keep coming back. It's going to just keep sitting there going like, well, I'm probably going to gain all the weight back, or I'm just going to be prepared so that in case.
Mindset, like we talked about last week.
Right. When
Yeah,
that's not, and when you do that, that's not really resetting your mind. I don't even
right.
know what to call it. It's kind of just being, giving in, acquiescing to the mindset you already have, which is, I'm this person and I'm becoming this other person, but I don't really know if it's going to stick. So you're not having good self efficacy, which I talked about a couple shows back, that belief in yourself that
Mhm.
you're going to make it, you're going to make it stick because you have to have that belief to do that, right? So you want to make sure that you have that I act in alignment with who I am becoming, even if it's uncomfortable, right? So we all together. All right. So and that's your mindset shift with that phrase, right? So in doing that, you can choose like a daily action that will reinforce an identity that you're trying. So whether it's weight loss, a financial thing like putting $10 aside every day, daily. Choose a daily identity action to reinforce something that you are changing or you're shifting on. That's one thing. We never celebrate perfection. As we know, we celebrate alignment.
Mm.
So I'm saying in this rise year, we're celebrating our alignment, to make sure that, okay, if I've chosen a small daily thing and I've put the $10 aside, or I ate 3 meals today that were all within the aligned identity that I want, I'm going to then celebrate that alignment. Now,
Yep.
you call it stacking the win, but it's also celebrating that you're aligning with yourself. You appreciate that you're staying to what you have set for yourself as your newer identity, right? Um I'm thinking like a statement that you can make to yourself is like, I am able to choose to do hard things and be successful at it. I am able to put $10 aside every day. And I wasn't doing that before. I can do difficult things. I can do uncomfortable things. So define a statement for yourself in this identity habit of, I am capable of, as I'm struggling to breathe, I'm capable of breathing. I'm like, I'm gonna cough. Sorry.
But
Got
it's committing to the process. It's committing
yes.
to exactly what we talked about last week.
It's
The habit.
committing to the process, that you're willing to face hard things and not give up and not submit yourself to the give up. Right? Because
It's
people
not,
do.
but I think we're trying to get away from hard things, just daily accomplishments, as opposed
Mhm.
to hard things, because putting $10 away isn't particularly hard. If you sit there and look, I got to save $5,000, for a new car. That's hard. Putting $10
Well,
away today isn't hard.
right, exactly. And if you look at if the $10 is the thing that you're trying to do that's going towards the $5,000 for the car, if you're looking at like, I need $5,000 tomorrow, and you have no way of doing it, and
Yeah.
even in a month, like I know people right now that are trying to save money for a car, um, and they get frustrated because they're like, I need it now. But I'm like, but if you're not putting aside money on a daily basis, but you go and you buy $10 worth of Starbucks coffee, that's $10 you could have had towards the car. But because it's not, it's the 10th stair, it's like, or the ninth stair, right? They're looking at it like, no, they're in their head of like, I want to be there, but you have to do the process. You're trying to get to the mastered level, which is the outcome is I have $5,000 or I have a new car or whatever it is. That comes with a process.
But you do
And
X amount of days of $10, and then you see that number start to build, and you go, okay, I can do 15, or I can
well,
do
that's
20. Yeah.
exactly, and that's kinda like the thing at the gym. Like, people
Yep.
go in and they're like, "I'm only gonna do 5 minutes," and then they do 10, and then they do 30, and then right? It's the same thing, because all of a sudden your mindset, and that's the neural pathway automatically will shift and start going in that way without you even having to do anything active about it other than what you're already doing, because it inspires you. 2 weeks ago, I talked about how it lifts the mood, it lifts the self-belief, it lifts the ability for you to be even more inspired and in aspiring to do things. So it's as simple as that. $10 leads to 15 and 20. Well, if I can do 10, I can do 20. Kind of like a marathon. I was always a 5Ker. 5K went to 10, 10 went to half went to, oh God, I'm going to do a full thing. It really is. It's like, it's a mindset that comes into play. It's like, okay, there it is.
A
So
marathon is a perfect analogy, isn't it? Because you only run a marathon one step at a time.
exactly. And
You
that's the
can't
only way
run
that
26
your
miles.
mind, go ahead.
You can't run the 26 miles. You run the next mile. You run the next 500 feet. Or yeah,
Right. Well, and it's the mindset of a marathon runner, and how when I train athletes and when I do my own training, because, it's literally just keep moving forward,
yeah.
because it's not about, we don't go, oh, I'm going to run 26 miles. No, I'm going to do a mile at a time. And I teach people how to chunk it into miles at a time, or 5 miles at a time, or 5K at a time, because you're essentially running 5Ks at a time. So it's the same thing. You're just stacking a win as you get closer. There's nothing better than the mind shift of, in a marathon, speaking of, because I'm running one. But when I get just over into like Brookline, if anyone knows Boston Marathon, it's like into Brookline. You're very close. mindset is like that. It's like I don't even remember the first 25 miles because it shifts into it's over because it's
Yep.
the last little piece. And so, but I don't think at the beginning either. The only time I ever think I can say this, and this is kind of like normal for people, right? Is if you get a cue in your environment where something says, like, oh my God, it's like way far out in front of you. There's a smart ass that likes to put a sign a mile into the race that
Oh,
says like
yeah.
entering Boston, right? Right.
Well, that's the ultimate example of being present, right? In a marathon, you got to be present. You
Yes.
got to be where you
Yes.
are.
Yes, exactly. So you have to be able to get past that annoyance.
Yeah, yeah.
that to be less irritated by the change of mindset because it messes with people's heads. I know when it's coming now because they do it every year. So now I know when it's coming, so I don't look
Yeah.
because I know exactly where it is on the course. It's annoying. It's one of those things that derails your rise. It's part of that mindset. Don't let things derail you on your rise. Right?
Let it
So
flow by, right? Let it go. Keep
you got to
scrolling.
just let it float by. Yep.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Only 1 mile left. No, there's not. No, there is not. So moving along. So after we are acting in alignment with doing hard things and we're becoming our identity, etc. Now we're on to the next step that I want people to do, which is practicing self-compassion. Oh, there's that foo-foo word, right? Practicing self-compassion without lowering your standards.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine the process of that, right? People, when I talked about this with clients that I'm working with on this whole process plan, they're like, oh, because people lower their standards. They change their standards all the time, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to have like that we want to have the reset growth mindset that requires a high expectation with humanity to ourselves, that we aren't so over the top with it that we can entertain it, but we don't lower it so far that it's a joke.
Yeah, right.
Right. So what does that end up looking like? So that ends up looking like taking like self-criticism and correcting it. So it's flipping a perspective, right? When you're being like, oh, I suck. No, you don't, right? That's ridiculous. That's not true. So you want to be honest with yourself. You want to be kind to yourself and you want to be firm with yourself. Don't let yourself get away with stuff. Don't let yourself be, like you said at the top of this piece, is, don't become a victim.
Right.
And we'll live in the victim mode, right? It's like, well, it didn't work, why bother, the Eeyore, why bother going out when you have to come back? Well, yeah, but that is not going to ever help you. So you have to really be able to use a corrective language, different language with yourself that shifts your perspective into really being honest yet firm and kind within. Like, I did okay today. Today I'm standing by all the things I'm supposed to be doing. And also, I think one of the easiest ways for me to explain it to people is speak to yourself like you would to like a friend that you deeply respect that you're trying to help.
Yeah.
Right? That you wouldn't beat on that friend verbally. You wouldn't put them down. You wouldn't shame them for something. You would speak in a kind, compassionate, loving way that would be encouraging, and it would shift a perspective if you heard something negative come from them.
Yep.
What a great way to correct your own mindset.
I was thinking it's a parenting technique, the way you talk to your kids about when they slip.
If you're a good parent.
Yeah, true.
Because not all parents talk great, right? So
'Cause that's a tough balance between nothing is linear. None of the progress, anything we're trying to do is linear. You're going to have bad days, and there's a fine line between forgiving yourself and being too lenient on yourself. So you got to
exactly.
balance that out.
Right. And that's that balance, so that you're not lowering your standard. You're practicing compassion of self without giving yourself the perfectionist, but without also going so low that you're like, it's out of your mindset, right?
Had a slice of pizza last night. That doesn't mean it's over. That means just get back on track tomorrow.
No, it just means that the pizza was really good.
Yeah, true.
Pizza was awesome, right?
Yeah.
I like example, I had 2 desserts last night.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, they came like that. And that's not typical for me, but I was like, I'm eating this. They were chocolate. And I was like, I'm eating
Yeah.
it. Right. Didn't think twice about it. Normally, years gone by, I'd be like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Right. Because my mindset growing up was you can't eat those things. My mindset in the gym was always can't doesn't count. Like that's how my mindset is now. Can't doesn't exist. Can't means you won't try. Like I stick with that. But also around food, it was always you can't have that. You can't have that. You can't have that. What does can't do in food? It makes you want it more.
Right.
So I don't do the can't. It didn't even register. So it was
It
like, oh,
also feels you dealing with failure all the time when you do.
exactly, because you can't do that. You can't do that. So if you have it, then oh, you screwed up,
So what
right?
does that do about your self-image when you're looking at these failures on a constant basis and
Right.
seeing how catastrophic the failure is?
And
Well,
that's
I've
and that
always,
turns into bad body image,
yep,
catastrophic body image, right? Because it's
yep.
like, oh, I ate that cake or I ate that ice cream or ate that pizza. I ate that like, yeah. I actually had a piece of bread last night.
Oh boy.
I don't eat bread because it doesn't like me, but I did. The place I went was worthy of I was like, I can't not. And it didn't hurt me. I think it's because it wasn't made with crappy gluten. So
Yeah.
is my guess because it wasn't McDonald's.
Yeah.
No offense to McDonald's, but
Or
um,
anything in a store. Yeah.
or yeah, exactly. Right. So it was fresh. But there that I think but in times gone by, right? So my mindset has shifted to self-compassion to the point where I don't even think about it anymore. But in years gone by, full self-disclosure there, as people have known over the years of my gymnast years, is that everything was a no. And I wanted it more. Like no pasta, I'd want pasta. No
Yeah.
pizza, I'd want 5 slices. I'd eat the whole thing. I could eat a whole pizza.
Then what that leads to is
Healthy
stacking
now, I feel
failures.
like I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
What?
What that leads to is stacking failures, which is a
Exactly.
bad
And then
place to be.
the more you stack failures, the more negative self-talk you
Yep.
get. The more negative self-talk you get, the harder you are on yourself, the more failures come.
Yep.
It's a wonderful little, like, self-sabotage, right? Because and then you end up lowering your standards because of it. It becomes a byproduct of the whole thing because you're not practicing self-compassion. You're lowering your standards on yourself because you're allowing yourself to take failures when you could change that like that.
And why is this the toughest lesson? Because people understand that dynamic. They understand negative repercussions and spiraling. They understand that
Yes.
because they've lived it all their lives, but they don't understand the positive of the power of the positive side of it. And it's not positive thinking and don't roll your eyes or things like that, but it
Right.
works. It's as powerful, if not more powerful, the other way.
Exactly. And people have to have some good experience with that to realize that that actually works. So they
Yep.
have to be able to do that a little teeny bit. That's why I'm giving little bits at a time because that will end up helping you as a listener grow from this in a way. Even though I'm not your doctor, you'll be able to at least take that and run with some of that because it's tangible and you see it. And that would be helpful for you, like what you just said, Louis, just taking that little bits at a time and
Yep.
going, right?
I wonder if
So
you went to somebody and said, you need to put on 30 pounds in a month. They go, I can't put on 30 pounds in a month. And then they expect to take off 30 pounds in a month. I don't know how that
exactly,
works.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that in that being said, like the other piece of like the action you can take in this step is like distinguishing that you have accountability from punishing yourself. Like take accountability if you have, you know, cake and pizza and whatever, or you didn't put your $10 away today. Take accountability that you didn't do it, but don't punish yourself for it. Just go and
Right.
do it the next time. It's just like repeating the identity habit of, oh, well, it's not going to be perfect. So today I missed. So tomorrow I'll do blah, blah, blah. Right. It's not this beat you up thing.
Yep.
And that's the thing that we're socialized into doing, right? We're told, well, that's bad. That's
Yep.
bad. You can't eat that. You'll never make that. That will never work. Who thinks you're going to ever be something? Like it's all the things that we get from socialized life, right? Our environment and whoever's in it, right?
Because
So
people who are feeding that to you don't want to take responsibility for their outcomes.
right,
So
exactly.
if you
And then
discover you can, then that just shines a light on their inability to control their
right,
own outcomes, which
right.
they have but don't take responsibility for.
Right, and then that makes it even though that's a weird thing, and I see this all the time, people will be like, "But why would anyone want you to fail?" Because no one it's like saying nobody wants anybody to be a heroin addict, and no one wants to be a heroin addict, but they are, right? It's
Yep.
about the fact that miserable people like miserable company. So they don't want you to fail, but they don't want you also to be better than them. They don't want to have it be that because it shines a light. And that's a rough lesson to hear. And I have to talk about that with clients pretty much every day, that there's people in your life that don't always want you to succeed. They'll say it,
Yep.
but they don't mean it.
Because
And
they've grown up in our family is big. Well,
right.
you know,
And
when
it's
someone breaks that mold, it lays responsibility on them to be able
right.
to do that too.
And that ends up becoming a very subconscious and unconscious epigenetic kind of pass down to
Mhm.
people. Like the expectation is already lowered, and you know, you want to jump out and be something and do all these things that are bigger than maybe what mom, dad, grandma, grandpa were. But there's this thing that keeps suppressing you.
Yep.
And so you have to really practice not lowering your standards and be disciplined without being cruel to yourself, so you don't have the narrative of old tapes. Or even if you're a young person listening to this right now in your teens, you know, watch out for old tapes from your earlier years of people saying, no, you can't, you'll never be, you're never good enough, like whatever it is. You got to be really disciplined without beating on yourself, because there's plenty of other people that will do that for you, and you don't need that. So
Yep.
don't do that to yourself, right? So, okay. Next.
Natasha's saying hi, by the way.
Hello, Natasha. Good morning.
Mhm.
Lucy. See people, that's what I'm talking about. They they love the name and the
Nice. Thank
face
you,
that's on
Natasha.
there.
Nice to hear.
Yes, that's what people were saying to me last week. They're like, I love seeing Lou. Now, well, I'll tell you Lou off air what people were saying.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, you know how it is. People have a vision in their head of what someone looks like. And then it's like some people were like, oh, yeah, that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
I never thought that. And some people are like, oh, I didn't think that at all.
Nope. Didn't have that picture at all. No.
Right, exactly. So it's funny. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to add on to is that we're going to create meaning through contribution.
Okay.
Right. And I've talked about this before, but our mental health strengthens when our life extends beyond our own self improvement towards service and purpose, which, as you see in my show, I spent a good minute or hot minute or two talking about that I work on self improvement through helping others. And obviously, I do that in my job, but also beyond just my normal life, everyday me things. I'm also out there in the world trying to, you know, have service and purpose in the world. So now I work with, you know, big cats. I work with, you know, sanctuaries. I work with veterinarians.
Mhm.
I work with people like with compassion fatigue that's outside of my actual practice per se, right? So that's a big piece of that. That doesn't mean you have to do that. I also raise money for a foundation every year to run my marathon. I would run a marathon no matter what, but I do it with the people. I was like, oh, you have to raise all that money. I love doing that. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, here I am, $900 more to 10,000, but $3,500 more to the goal. It's hard, but I'm doing it because I know where it goes. I know what it's doing. I know that when I'm out there, it's a sense of purpose, that every one step towards the finish line is, I know that that's putting a jacket on someone's back, giving someone a meal, saving a dog, saving someone from suicide. Like it's helping somebody somewhere for every single dollar or every single thing I'm doing. So did that come overnight? No, but I was also raised in an environment of doing that. So it was always purpose driven, live purpose driven to help others, right? So that's one thing I was raised with. But if you haven't been, that's a huge shift for you to make, is that you have to not only do for you on a daily, which is important, you have to create meaning through contribution outside of you. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do all the big things I'm doing. That didn't happen overnight. You have to build that over time, just like
Yep.
everything you're doing in your rise. You have to rise. You have to reset your mindset and say, how can I help today? I hear so many people, especially in this day and age, in the current environment in our country. I hear tons of people being like, I can't do anything. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's lots of things you can do. So if you're political and you need to do something, there's lots of things there. If you're a person that wants to help homeless people, then there's that. If you want to help animals, there's that. Like there's so many things out there that are just basic little bit things that you can do even in your own small little town. That's all you have to do, is just go out and do a little search, right? And what it does is when you create that meaning through contribution to other things, you have this goes to the growth is not linear, right? It's measured in the different roads you take. It's measured in how you create an impact. It's measured in um, moments and little milliseconds. It's measured in so many different metrics, right?
Yep.
So when you're creating meaning, that's giving you also that self-efficacy that builds your rise. It gives you your outcome goal is going to become faster and easier because you're doing more purpose-driven life. You're not practicing perfection. You're living with purpose. And so I think of all the pieces that you're putting into your life plan for this year of rise, this one's huge because you have to get mentally healthy in a stronger way by doing for others. And a lot of people don't do for others. Um,
Well, they get
and
into that big mindset that we're warning against, where you look at what's going on in the country and wherever you are politically, you look at it and you say, "I can't do anything about that."
right,
You're not steering the ship. You don't have to worry about steering the ship. Go to a senior center, go to a shelter,
right.
do
Help
something
local.
for a dog at the shelter. You don't have to
Exactly.
change the country.
Exactly. And like we have all these weather conditions going on right now.
Yeah.
The homeless shelters are desperately looking for like jackets, pants, ski wear that's warm. Like go do that. It's as basic as that. Like think local, think contribution local, because your growth. So your mindset shift has to be really about my growth matters because it's creating an impact on me and someone else. My growth matters. So if I'm getting personally stronger, I'm getting interpersonally stronger, then it matters because it's going to create an impact out in the world because I'm going to go out and help people. And that then how do you then um take an action on that? Revisit your why. Why do you do the things you do? Why are you doing X? Right? Where's your why? What is your why? We talked about this a few shows ago, right? Identify one way that your growth benefits someone else. Anchor your values to um like what you're doing, not your ego and not social comparison, right? So many people get stuck in like their their contributions not necessarily being altruistic. If you're not doing things just to do them because you want to help someone and you're expecting something back, you're probably not going to have the same mental health fulfillment and the growth to your outcome goals as you would if you were just doing something to do it.
Is it okay? Because at a point in my life, that whole everything you're describing for me was being a parent and just having the kids when I was raising my kids. That was all it
Yes,
was about, and it was just about them, and it took me out of
it
my own
is.
personal struggles, and just gave me a focus and intent and something I could act on every day.
Yes, absolutely. And that is if and here's where that matters because parents often don't give themselves credit for I'm just a parent. I hear that a lot. I'm just a parent and I see some great parents out there. Yeah, you have to be present in the moment of the parenting to be able to give yourself credit for it. You can't just be like oh, I'm just a parent. I'm just parenting. No. If you're doing a great job at being a parent, God, that's going to come back so 25 fold in the future for you, and it means a lot. That's a huge contribution, especially in your 0 to 10 year olds, because 0 to 10, 0 to 6 really, but 0 to 10, you've got that's where your work is. And if you're making a good spot there, then your next 10 years after that is easy
You
comparatively.
you were talking about not taking a reward from it, but that was one of the most rewarding periods of my life, and it was,
Well,
hopefully they'll tell you it was good for them. I hope so too, but it was life changer for me, really.
right. Now I'm going to clarify. You absolutely can take a reward from it because everything you do, no matter what, and this is a debate that I always have in my class and I put it out for debate. And I love this is anything truly ever altruistic? Philosophical debate that can go on forever, right?
Yeah,
Because no
doesn't
matter what
matter.
no matter what you do, you always get rewarded,
Yeah,
even if you're not looking for the reward. There is a reward. I get rewarded. I'm not looking for the reward, but I get it. My work is rewarding, my fundraising is rewarding, my running is rewarding, but I'm not actively with a mindset going, I'm doing this because I want the reward. That's different.
right.
When people do that, then it changes the mindset and also changes the outcome. If you're just doing it because you know it's the good thing and it makes other people better, it's a different reward.
That was such an interesting process because it fits into everything we're talking about, because that was just day by day,
Yes,
small thing by small thing. Let's make a dinner together, or,
right,
car ride, and no, I'll take you to this if you want to go, and
right.
that type of thing. It's just moment to moment type of, that's moment to moment type work. That's what it is.
Exactly. And parenting, I think parenting gets bypassed so much as not important enough or acknowledged as important enough as a contribution, especially people that stay at home, whether you're a stay at home mom or stay at home dad, and the ridicule that still is out there about the stigma around that. And you're really you're contributing to shaping lives. And please do it well.
Yeah.
It's such an important job. Please do it well, because when it doesn't go well, you often end up in my office,
Yeah.
which is fine. But oftentimes people are in my office because they didn't get that parenting, and I end up being the surrogate parent a lot of the times.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
teaching them how to self parent.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
the handoff, right? Learning how to
It,
self parent.
it's the corrective emotional experience that us as doctors and therapists have to give our clients. Yeah, exactly. Um, okay. And then I was gonna well, I'm trying to think about like what little pieces to add to that. Like, um, so I think when you were doing our identity and we're doing it around contributions, making sure that we're consistent and aligned with our habits of doing that. So we have stacking wins, right? Um, Making sure that we have quality relational boundaries so that if we're helping people, we keep those because that's important so that it helps us maintain that consistency. And then a willingness to have disappointment, because every single step I've given in the past two shows comes with the potential for it didn't work. And so you have to pivot and readapt and move forward again. And you have to have that for the mindset for it to have stability, right? So what would I say my closing principles around this are, is that your mental health and your growth mindset are not destinations. They are a continuous nonlinear journey. As cheesy as that might sound, they really are. They're daily practices that are rooted in being respectful for yourself, adaptable to yourself, and driven with purpose. Ooh.
I just flashed
Right?
back. I just flashed back to Vivian Lee and Tomorrow's Another Day. When you suffer a setback, I mean, being able to say, "Well, it wasn't a great day. I got tomorrow. We'll make it up
Yes,
tomorrow." Yeah.
right. And that's the thing. So what I've
Or
been
start
doing
to
is
make it up tomorrow. Yeah.
well, what I've been doing with clients, and this is what people can do if you're listening, because if you're not working with me, or somebody, I can't do it with you, but at least go ahead and try. And by saying try, I mean do. Create a 30-day mental health mindset reset plan, which means take the 7, 8 steps that I just gave you over the past two shows, and create a 30-day plan of how you're going to reset your mindset every day, and design like on a Friday or a Saturday, like a reflection moment of like what was this daily reset like, right? And then tailor it specifically to what you do. If you're a caregiver, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're a dog walker, if you work at McDonald's, tailor it to your specifics so that it's habit driven for you and not based on social comparison to something or somebody else. I would add into that also, find someone that's in your framework of who you aspire to be like, who you see as successful, and that doesn't mean that you're going to do exactly what they're doing or how they got there, but keep them in mind and sort of align with that's who you've got in there. It's not a social comparison. It's just a matter of like, that's your vibe. Pick your vibe. Put your vibe in mind of like who you want to aspire to be, not like, but like, right?
Watch how they react to wins and losses, and
Right.
copy it if you have to, or just take cues from how they deal with the same things you're dealing with.
Right. I mean, sort of a perfect example because I've been very invested in the past week heavily in the NFL.
Yeah.
As my job is a lot of the times, right? But especially in the New England Patriots, right? So there's a very big difference between watching Mike Vrabel versus Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very big difference in who they are and who, obviously, but also how they manage team, and they both are team people, right? And
Yep.
it's very cool because they're both very successful. But when you look at those kinds of examples, right? Or I'm
I
using
used to
athletes,
admire Bill Zen. I was struck by Bill Zen, and it was hidden in the Bill persona.
right?
And this is before he went off the rails, but that's a whole nother story. But Mike Vrabel gets there in
Yeah,
a completely
I
different
can't think
way.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But Mike Vrabel gets there what?
in a completely different way.
Completely, right.
Yeah.
And then like I was watching Serena. I haven't talked to Serena Williams in a very long time. And I saw her on the Today Show this morning and I was like, girl, she has reset herself and reset her mindset, and just her persona of like who she is just so solid compared to what she was like 20 years ago. And
Yeah,
I
and
just
that's interesting because she comes from an externally dominant upbringing, right?
her father very dominant, very dominant
She
the
had to
whole
find
career.
herself. She had to find her own.
And she had and
She had to emerge from that upbringing.
I mean, when I was thinking of the show today, I was thinking about when I was listening to her this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, she has done the rise. She has reset for sure. She is integrated. She stands up, stands out, and she elevates herself. And she does that because of the resiliency she built from being with dad, for sure. As a lot of high end athletes and high performers do. But also because she has had it so that she had to. And she talked about her mental health journey, and she has no problem talking about her mental health journey. So I think those are good examples if you're an athlete follower, like I am, obviously, for
Yep.
Daily Game Face. So, anyway, all right. So hopefully this is helpful. Please go back and listen to last week if you missed it to
Yes.
add it into this week. If you are able to help me out, the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, and I just need to get, I just need to go to Venmo and help me out. Get a bracelet. I'll send it to you. I will
Yep.
send you a beautiful Alex and Ani limited edition Patriots bracelet and donate. Every little bit is a lot, literally. Even if you can't do $100 and get a square, $25, $50, every little bit is a lot. They
And
all
wear that bracelet on the
stack
Super
the
Bowl.
wins. They stack the wins.
Wear that
Five.
bracelet in the Super Bowl and bring some luck to the Patriots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys. So I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the snow if you're living here in New England because it's coming again.
Hmm.
All right. Bye.